Hi, I'm Abby, and last week I posted a video about math resources such as manipulatives, games, and books that we use in our family to keep math fun. But I also really wanted to encourage you that math doesn't have to cost anything because it is around us all the time. You just have to think to utilize it. And I think it's actually a better way to teach math because remember when you were younger and you wanted to know, why do I need to know this? Well, if we can show our kids why it's important, they won't have those questions and it just becomes part of their life. And I just think that it's a really good, applicable way to get your kids involved. So I want to share with you 10 ways that you can do this that are free and will engage your little student. This video is a collaboration with Jessica from Way and Abby from Rooted in Rest. They've also invited a bunch of other moms to share really fun math ideas that are used in their homes. So make sure to check the description box and go check out the playlist for more ideas once you're done here. Well, I'm filming outside today, one, because it is a beautiful fall day, but also because it is a perfect segue to my first idea. This summer, we were actually at the beach and we collected acorns and seashells, and we did a bar graph and a pie chart from this, and I'll show a little bit of that video here for you, and it's from our Sometimes We Unschool video. But you could do this all seasons, and how fun would that be to kind of even keep track of those different things that you did in different seasons. So send the kids outside and tell them to get leaves from 10 different trees, and then you're going to figure out what colors are represented and you're going to make these different graphs. It would be really fun. In the spring you could do flowers that you see while you're out on a nature walk. There's so many ideas with this, and it is just a really neat way to be in nature, to be exposed to different things, and to pay attention. What about charting how many deciduous versus conifer trees that you have in your yard? Just an idea. You've probably heard about temperature blankets or charting the temperature through different colors. That would be a great idea, and you could do that on paper. Come up with what colors you're going to use for the different temperatures, and every day make a different line on the piece of paper representing the weather for that day. Or what about doing like a line graph, right? This just helps your kids to learn different ways to collect data and to read data as well. Let's talk money. I love using real money for my kids. I think that it was kind of confusing for me growing up when we had like paper money or that cheap plastic money that didn't really do a good job resembling the real thing. So I love using real money, and a great way to do this is just open up their piggy banks and have them count it. And then the next time they get money, have them open up their piggy banks and recount the whole thing again. It's a great way to practice with money. They might also be saving up for something, so you could do subtraction and figure out how much more money they need to save. Don't just give them the answers, let them figure out the answers for themselves. Another idea actually came from a way that my dad would encourage us to eat at home. He, like every meal, would have us figure out how much each plate cost for us around the table. So we would have to figure out all the ingredients, how much we used, everything that went into it, the cost of everything. So adding up the receipt totals, and then dividing it amongst the 4 of us. In my family it'd be 6 of us, and figuring out how much each person's meal cost, and then seeing how much cheaper it was to eat at home versus eating out. And I think that this just created a lot of good life habits. Maybe you don't want your kids to order a drink every time you go out. You want them to drink water, because it is ridiculous how much they charge you for pop or juice or milk at a restaurant versus what you would pay for it at home. And it's just a really good way to get your kids thinking financially about what things cost and where they really want to be putting their money. So that is one idea for you when it comes to money and lots of math. Oh my goodness, so much math, but it is really fun. This summer when we were on a road trip, we found this idea of making your own battleship on paper and using it for spelling words, but it also is again like a chart, right? And so you have to write the numbers across and figure out how to find certain points. Battleship is an important game for the brain to start figuring out how to follow and find those different points. So I will link a resource rather than kind of walk through all of this. I'll link a resource for you where you can learn more about that if you think it's something you would be interested in. Really great idea for car schooling if you're looking for that kind of thing. One thing I really enjoy doing with my littlest one is giving him finger paints in the bathtub, like special bath finger paints, and having him draw his numbers on the side of the tub. He could do dots too. We could think of all kinds of games. I love doing it in the tub because it is like mess free, and you can make your own finger paints at home too. You'll have to go figure out what recipe you would like to use for that, or it's not free, but it's like $1 at the store to get these things, and it is a really fun idea, and it is cleaner than using shaving cream or something else. Another idea we've used is mini wheats at the bottom of the bag, how it's just like all of those leftover green things that nobody wants. Dump them in a pan and have your kids draw in those. It just gets their hands moving, gets them interested, a different way of doing it rather than pencil. So just a thought, look for those things around your house. Maybe you have extra rice or beans or corn from the fields that you can do that in, and that could be beneficial for you too. It's so easy to forget those simple things that you already have in your house, like dice or cards. And so one thing that we do is roll the dice and just add them together, and whoever can do it the quickest gets a tally under their name on the whiteboard. So we're checking off addition, we could do subtraction with it, we could do multiplication. I mean, you could do so many things with it. Plus you're practicing making tally marks also. My kids enjoy writing math sentences for me. Math sentences, right? Like 2 + 5 = and then I have to fill in 7, but they have to get them in the right order. Addition is commutative, but subtraction, it would have to be 7 - 2 = 5, right? Because 2 - 7 would be a negative, and we haven't learned that yet. But then they have to double check my work too and make sure that I got the right answers. It just makes it a little more fun. Make them the teacher for the day. It's really a cool way to do it. Last fall, I forgot to mention this earlier in the video, so I'm just gonna slip it in here. Okay, last fall was election season. And I took pictures of all of the kids standing by the American flag and had them come up with why people should vote for them. Then we put a poll out there on our Facebook page asking friends to vote who they would elect. And then I read them off and everybody made tally marks to see what happened, and it was really good for like a whole bunch of reasons for the kids to learn, but for that math factor or taking polls, right? There's so many things you could do. In fact, Eli, what question would you like to ask the viewers?
What's your favorite game? Uno or Yahtzee?
All right, so help us with that poll by commenting down below. That would be really helpful, and our kids just really enjoy this. It's like a big game for them, so thank you. Another idea in the kitchen is to have them create their own recipe. I remember creating an awful recipe. I'm sorry, Mom and Dad. It was like a lemonade thing, and I had to take it to school and like share my recipe, and it was awful, but I was so proud of it. My son enjoys making different styles of trail mix, but he has to write the recipe down, how many ounces were in that Chex Mix bag, and how many cups of M&Ms did he put in it, and he really enjoys doing that, and it's great practicing for measuring. Also things like oranges, ask your kids, okay, there's 8 orange slices, would you like to give me 4/8 or 1/2? Well, it's the same thing, but they have to figure that out, right? So you can do so much math in the kitchen. Don't forget about it. It is super helpful. My last idea, and I have not actually tried this one yet, but I came up with it and I'm pretty intrigued to see, is give them responsible tasks to do at a specific time. And if they are responsible to do it at that specific time, they'll be watching the clock, paying attention to when it is, and then if they do it at the right time, give them a bonus reward for doing it, right? Like, oh, you have to take out the trash today, but if you do it exactly at 12:52, I will give you a sucker. And so then, like, their minds, they're practicing responsibility and they're keeping eyes on the clock, like, oh no, that's 12:50, 12:51, you know? Like, I think it'd be a really good engaging way to get your kids to pay attention to time. When they're really little, another idea, you don't want them to leave their bedroom until like 7 o'clock, right? So that you have your mama time or your sleeping time. We have this clock that lights up at 7 o'clock. It turns green, and that's like the go sign that they can leave their room. And I'll link it down below for you. I found this to be really helpful, but you could use a clock like that in different ways. They could be watching it and paying attention. I think you can even set it up for like multiple different times that it goes off, but there are a lot of tools like this that could help you in the house. Mr. Rogers, one of his most famous episodes was where he set a timer to 1 minute, and kids just sat there watching for 1 minute. Could you imagine? Oh my goodness, we don't have the like capacity to just sit and watch a timer for 1 minute anymore because we're just trying to move so fast. But it's a great idea. So think about that one when you're looking for other ideas of teaching math also. All right, guys, that is all I have for you today on 10 free math hands-on activities. Make sure to check out the other video about math resources with books, games, and manipulatives if you're looking for more ideas for kids too. Let me know in the comments if there's anything else that you would be interested in hearing about. I love hearing from you guys and just being part of this community. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.